Hey ladies, it's Victoria here. I'm going to come to you live for the next 5 days around noon Eastern time and be with you for 15 to 20 minutes or so, just sharing some information for anyone who's interested in weight loss. And what I wanted to do was you should be able to comment in this as I'm talking. You should be able to make comments if you're here. If you're watching it live, then please do, so I'll know who's here. And then just for you who've never been live on Facebook, it'll pop up for me with little messages that drive me crazy, so you'll see me moving around the screen a little bit with my mouse while I get rid of those messages. But anyway, so yeah, this is day one, and I just created this 5-day challenge. It's an easy challenge. Every day I'm going to come in and just talk a little bit, and then I'm going to allow you, if you are watching live, to have questions. If not, you can post them in the group later if you would like to. And then what I will do is, answer as many of those as I can, either on the call or in the post afterwards. So let me reiterate, let me fix my camera so you can see me best, that my name is Victoria. I am the one who created this group. There is a woman who helps me, that's Sophia Charlotte Roundtree. She's in the group. She does post in the group too. And so I have Sophia because she's my sister. And so she just started saying, well, let me help you. What do you want me to do? She just retired, so she's helped me in the group. So you'll see her posting things too. So just know if you have any, any questions, she may answer them for you too, right? I mean, she is like me. She does the same things I do. Okay, so I am going to look at notes while I'm talking just so I don't forget anything. But I want to tell you. So the name of my program is Weight Loss Success Formula, featuring 31 sneaky ways to reduce weight without a diet. And I love that because it started with my 31 sneaky ways. That's how the whole thing started. So that's what I'll be talking to you about this week. And then the other thing I want to share is that my goal is in this challenge is that I want to share this information with you so you'll know more about weight loss for yourself and maybe what some of the issues are that you're having. But also to tell you some of the really crazy things about weight loss that as I was researching and trying to find the answers with these 31 sneaky ways of things that I discovered. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you. And the first thing I want to share is you are not looking for weight reduction. You think you are, because that's what I thought too, right? That's exactly what I thought, and that's what we all think until we learn a little differently. So the truth is, you're looking for a transformation. Some people say, oh, I just need to reduce weight. And it's like, the truth is, we're looking for a transformation, because until we have a transformation, we cannot have weight loss and make it stick. And it's because weight loss, yeah, we can use a diet. We can go on a diet, we can lose the weight, and then in time we're going on that same diet or a different diet, right? Because all we did was learn how not to eat much. That's all we learned, or eat the same thing over and over. But anyway, throughout the disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionalist. I was one desperate woman, and I'm seeking to help other desperate women find the answers. And I researched this for a couple of years, and you've got my story. I put my story on my profile. I'll give you a little short version today, but I put it on my profile page so you can read that. I put it on there last night or yesterday, so you can read that if you would like. But I am really just one desperate woman who was trying to find answers, and I finally did. So that is what I'm going to share with you, some of the answers that I found. And I'm looking for 100 women whose lives I can transform and teach you how to become the hero of your own life. And that is what I say to my clients. They know, the people who work with me, I'm helping you, showing you how to become the hero of your own life. And it's really interesting because I do want to throw out this disclaimer, is this program came to me. I was desperate to find an answer, and I did. if you're with me live, then just give me a comment and say live, so I'll know if anybody's with me. I'm just curious because I can't tell from this Facebook feed. But anyway, the point is, I was desperate for answers, but also, friends, it really started with, I started this kind of program with a whole different mindset for me, because I want us as women, as seniors, to age better than our parents did. Most of us, some of you have those parents that were blessed and lived to be, you know, still alive and living alone and driving and all that. But for most of us, you know, our mothers were too heavy. It's the way we eat as Americans, all of that, and that sort of thing. And I wanted us to age better. And it came to me as a calling, literally a calling. So I just want you to know up front, to me it's a God thing, because we have these beautiful, amazing bodies that we've been given, and they heal. I mean, I could go into a whole, thing, a whole lesson on our beautiful human body, and anybody who's listened to me knows that. But the point is, we have this beautiful human body that God has given us, and to me, when we are not good stewards, when we don't take care of the body to the best of our ability, and that sometimes you're sick, that's it, but the body will heal if you take care of it. Right? And that is how it really started. I started this whole thing called I Honor, which some of you saw in my profile, because I want us to honor our bodies, and I want us to age better so that we can live our lives fully, not just, like, oh, well, I'm 60 now, I guess I'm done. Are you freaking kidding me? We got stuff to do, right? There's stuff we need to do, even if it's, just whatever we love to do, we deserve to do that. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted you to know, so people understand kind of where I'm coming from, that to me it was sort of a godsend. It was just like, it's a God thing for me. Anyway, so my story, basically, you can read it, but I gained weight from menopause, went on a diet, lost the weight, yee-hee! Gained it back. Went on another diet, lost the weight, yahoo! Gained it back. Ultimately, 3 diets in, I'm like, something's got to give. The last diet I couldn't even finish. It was so severe. I can't even remember what exactly how bad it was, but it was bad. I couldn't even finish it. So then I said, okay, Victoria, and some of you may have these thoughts. I said, all right, look, just obviously you're older now and your body wants to weigh more, so as long as you don't get heavier than this, it's okay. So I'm like, all right. So what I did was I went ahead and accepted my body. Except I didn't, right? I thought I could. I tried to, but I couldn't. I felt horrible. I felt fat. My clothes didn't fit. I couldn't wear anything cute. I mean, you start wearing a muumuu or whatever, right? Right? Whatever those things are called. I felt horrible. And the thing is, friends, the longer that went on, the worse it got here for me, right? That's why I say we want a transformation. We don't want to lose weight. We want a transformation because we have to learn how to think about this. So anyway, ultimately, I thought I could survive it and live with it, but I couldn't. So what I did was I started researching, and I just started, anything I could find, I would, if I thought I could do it, if I could live with it, then what I would do is I would go ahead and, I'm trying to, Facebook keeps popping up things. Sorry, ladies. So what I did is I started researching and applying, trial and error. Anything I thought I could do, I would do. I asked my doctor. I've got a female doctor who's wonderful. I love her. And I'm like, what can I do? And she's about 10 years younger than me, so she would just give me ideas, and those kind of things. And I would read anything on Facebook, anything in the news, anything I could to figure out what can I do, what can I try. And that's how I stumbled upon, in 2 years' time, it took me for myself to do trial and error. But it worked, right? It worked, and that's what mattered. So anyway, So I'm going to share with you first some truths about weight loss and the way we think about it, which is very interesting to me. So what it is, the truth about weight loss is, one of the truths, I'm going to share several this week, but one of the interesting things I want you to consider is, we call it weight loss, right? But when we lose weight, that is so opposite to what's really how we normally think of losing something. So if you're in the group, and if you can write in the chat, have you ever lost anything? Who's ever lost anything? And was it a good thing? No. Most of us, if you lose your car keys, you go crazy. You lose your purse, you really go crazy. But anything, lose that favorite top you used to wear, whatever. It's all, it's all just like, it's negative. Loss is not good, and yet we're seeking to lose weight. I'm going to give you a couple little examples. One of my girlfriends lost, she's in the legal field and also the medical field. She does legal work in the medical field. She lost this document. Now, the document was very important to her. It was like a will, right? It was about equal to a will in her life, but it wasn't anything at work. It was just personal. Well, she had it, and she was so excited about it. I remember she told me, she's my walking buddy, so I walk with her most mornings, and she was telling me about this document. Oh my gosh, I got it, and she was explaining how much it was going to help her and what it was about and how she could use it in the legal world and the whole thing. And then she loses it. Like a week later, she's telling me she lost it. And this losing that document went on for at least 3 days. That every morning we would walk, and she would tell me every place she looked for the document the night before, and she was moving furniture. She was like, she looked in her her work office, her home office, her car. Maybe it fell under a seat. She's looking everywhere, and she's obsessed about this document. Every morning we walk, and all she talks about is how she lost this very important, because she can't get it again. It was the kind of thing you can't go back and say, hey, it wasn't like a will you can rewrite. This thing was gone. So anyway, very interesting. The good news is she did find it. So FYI, it took 2 months. It finally showed up. You know how that goes. So anyway, ultimately, the point is that the word lose and lost, we apply that with weight loss, but that word really has a negative connotation. So the whole thing is a little bit off. And then I want to tell you one story. One of the women in our group is really funny. She is so funny. I used to teach with her, and so I know her personally. And one day, teachers tend to gain a little weight in the summer because you have time to eat, and you're off work, and maybe going on vacation. But anyway, I saw her after one summer, and she was so funny. She says, "Do you know how many of the teachers have lost weight this summer?" And I was like, no, I didn't notice. And I hadn't noticed. I was like, wow, I'm thinking, why she noticed? And then she said, unless it was really a big number, And then she says to me, she says, yeah, I know they did because I found it. That is how funny she is. But that's how we think about, weight. So anyway, that's the story about using those words, weight loss. So I tend to like to use the word weight reduction just because it's a little bit better than weight loss. So you'll see me talking about that, which is, it's equal. It's what we're doing, but at least the connotation's a little different, the way we think about it. And then the other side of that is we gain weight, right? And when we gain weight, for the most part, that is not a good thing. But in anything else in life, when we gain, it's generally a good thing, right? It's like, I just read this great book like a year ago called The Gap and the Gain, G-A-P and the Gain, The Gap and the Gain. So every day at the end of my work day, one of the exercises I do for myself is I write down 3 gains I had that day, right? But if I gained 3 pounds, I wouldn't be as happy, right, as some of the other gains that I get to talk about. So anyway, food for thought about just the way we think about weight loss. So then I want to tell you, it's just the crazy vocabulary and the words we use around these things are already off. It's already skewed, right? And it's always, something, many of us at some point in our lives, we want to lose weight. We want to reduce our weight at some point. Okay, so over the next few days, I'll be sharing these kinds of truths. So here's one for you for today, is calorie counting. So reducing our weight is a math game, right? It means we eat less calories than we burn, so that at the end of a week, maybe we've lost a pound, maybe we've lost 2, maybe we've lost half, maybe we've lost, whatever, 1.5. But it's just a math game, is what it is, right? That is the calorie counting. It's a math game. All right, I have a friend here. She's one of the clients that I work with, actually, in the group, and but I work with her. She's one of my clients, and she used to be the center director for one of the big name weight loss centers. I won't name it. It was the kind of place where you go, they evaluate you, then they give you their foods to eat, and you eat that certain food, and then you come back once a week or every 2 weeks. I can't remember what she said now, but anyway, basically you come back. But she was so good at this work that they would move her from successful center that she had to unsuccessful centers so that she could build those centers up. And that was what they did, because she was so good at this. Now, the irony of this, ladies, is she's working with me now. She was the director of these centers and sharing this information with people, had people working under her sharing this information, and years later, she's back, she needs to reduce her weight again, because all she learned was how to do what they did, how to do, eat these certain foods. So, but I asked her the other day when I was chatting with her, I knew I'd be talking. I said, "Can you tell me how many calories your center?" Because I knew I was going to talk to you about this. And she said, "How many did they recommend?" And she said between 1,200 and 1,500. And I was like, okay. And how did they decide that? And she said, based on how much weight you needed to lose. And I was like, okay, that's interesting, because I'm going to tell you something right here that's really interesting. So, I was going on an 1,800 calorie diet. That was my diet, 1,800. But as I started doing this research and thinking, well, this is kind of interesting, isn't it? How do I know how many calories my body burns? So there's a test you can do called a VO2 test, and you put this mask on and you get on a treadmill, and I can't remember how long it took now because I did it, some years back now. But anyway, ultimately I did the VO2 test, which tells you other data, but it also tells you how many calories your body burns if you did nothing else but, just sit around and eat, work. You can go to work like that, but you know what I mean. You're not working out, not trying to lose weight. You just want to know how many calories. Friends, my body burned 1,350, 1,350. So my 1,800 calorie diet was doing me no good, right? How would I know that if I didn't go take the test? So just for you ladies to know, I'll put a link in the group for you to look at. I've got some links. It's all always abstract, right? I mean, really it is. What did you do today? What did you eat today? It's a math game, but you just have to find what works for you. But my 1,800 calories did not work for me, right? That did not work for me at all. Even if I had done the 15, it wouldn't have worked for me because my body burned 1,350. It was unreal. I couldn't believe how low it was for myself. Okay, so anyway, what I'll do is I'll put in the group some links that you can look at just to click on and see about how many calories. So it's kind of like there's a rule of thumb that I've discovered, I didn't know, but it's like if you weigh 200 pounds, then you would probably eat about 2,000 calories a day. Your body would probably burn about 2,000 calories a day, and so you might want to reduce from there. So if you're 130 pounds, 1,350, right? So you think about like that. That's just a rule of thumb, but there's so many things that go to it. So I want to share. The other thing I want to share today is, and I'm going to wrap up. The other thing I'm going to share today is that your fitness. One of the other women I work with, just recently we were doing a one-on-one coaching, and I said, how many calories are you eating? Just in conversation. It wasn't about that, but we were just talking about that, and I was just trying to figure out what she was eating because her life has changed. Transformation. Her life has changed so much. I'm just thrilled for her. So I was just kind of asking her some questions around that. But anyway, ultimately, I said, well, I knew she had a fitness watch because we had talked about this in other calls before. And I said, you've got a fitness watch? And she said, yes. And I said, what is it? How many calories do you burn? And she says, what do you mean? And I said, well, what does it say? What does your app say? I know you have the app on your phone because we talked about that. And she goes, oh, I didn't know. Well, ladies, if you have a fitness watch, this one's a Fitbit. I've had different ones. I've had Garmin. I've had one of the other big ones. There's several. But whatever you have, there should be an app on your phone. Let me grab mine. So there should be an app on your phone. And when you look at it, when you pull up the app, it'll tell you, the data that you want. And then you can go to, Saturday. I burned, my calorie burn was 2186. On Saturday. That means how much activity I had and how many calories my body burned. You can see that. And then I see on Friday it was 2203, et cetera, et cetera. And this is what I told my client. I said, so go on there and get yourself an estimate. That's what I do. I look at mine. I'm like, okay, most days I burn 2,000 calories, most days. Some days it might be 18. Some days it might be 24, but most of the time it's around 2, so I kind of have a feel for that myself. So that's another way you can tell. If you have a fitness watch, it will really be your friend in that. So that's the something you can do, a little tidbit of information for you. Lastly then, I'm going to share with you one of the 31 sneaky ways to reduce weight without a diet. I'm going to share, every day I'll share one, and then this will be your homework. So the first thing, I'm going to call it your call to action. So in the group, once you've done this, then I want you to tell me, what you discover, okay? But I'll share with you. So basically, the sneaky way for today, your action step, is to read labels on all the food that you eat today. Whatever you eat, read the labels. And so I'm not asking you to do anything with it. I'm not saying, oh, write that down, or, I'm not saying it. I just want you to read the labels. And I'll tell you what happened. My story is my partner, Michael, ended up going for a checkup, and the doctor said to him, hey, your sugar's a little high. You need to reduce your sugar. Well, y'all know how we are, women. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so worried about Michael. We've got to get rid of some of the sugar in the house, right? So I started reading labels on everything because I'm trying to save his life. Well, forget that, friends. I started saving mine. So this became one of the sneaky tips that I use. It's like, are you kidding me? Once I started reading labels. But for now, I'm going to tell you more about labels. I'll tell you more about that. But I want you just for today, just read labels on whatever you eat. If it has a label, of course, if it's natural, it won't have one. But if it's something with a label, read it just for content, just to see what you see. And we'll be talking about that over, that's part of what I get into in coaching, but we'll talk about it a little bit more. And then in the group, I want you to post in there that you, label. So to close out today, I just want to share one more thing that's very interesting. This morning, I was talking to one of the women I work with, and she said, I'm at work. I have time to talk with you. We had scheduled a call. And she goes, I'm going to talk with you. She goes, but do you mind if I eat my yogurt? And I said, no, you can eat. And we were talking about, her work, what she was, how she was doing. And it was so funny. So then I said, well, what kind of yogurt are you eating? And she told me, I'm not going to name it. And I said, okay. And I said, okay, well, look at the label, because I knew I was going to do this with you ladies. And she did. And so I asked her a little bit of, thank you, Sarah. I'm so glad to see you. Thanks for telling me you were here. I appreciate you joining. I'm so happy that you're there. I can see that there are several people in the group, but you're the first one who's told me who you were. So thank you for that. Otherwise, I don't know. But anyway, so I'm talking to this woman, we're having one of our coaching sessions, and she is eating this yogurt, and I said, look at the label. And so she did. And then I started telling her what to look at. I just told her like 3 things that I wanted her to see. And she's like, oh my gosh. So that's my point. When you look at the label, I'm not saying don't eat it. I'm not telling you that at all. I'm just saying look at the label and just start becoming aware. because the only reason I did it was because Michael, the doctor said, hey, your sugar's high, and I'm thinking, oh, poor Michael, I gotta help save his life. Well, he still eats sugar. He's not worried about that at all, right? Ladies, it changed the way I eat. I look at labels now for everything because you just don't know, and we'll talk about that some more. Okay, that's it for today. Oh, Lillian Small, I'm so glad you were here. Lillian, look at the label. Look at that label. She says she's actually eating a yogurt right now. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's like, yep, look at the label. I'm not asking you to do anything with it. I'm just going to share that, and then I'll talk some more about that. But this is one of the sneaky ways that I call them sneaky ways because they were accidents. You know, I'm just researching. I'm like, oh, I'm going to try that. Oh, well, that reading the labels was a real accident, but I'm like, that's one of the biggest things I could do. Okay, ladies. If you have a question, put it in the group now. Otherwise, I'll close for today. I did plan on going, like I said, from 15 to 30 minutes a day because just depending on what I want to say. But I'm so glad you're here. I'm learning. This is the first time I've ever done a Facebook Live like this, so I'm learning. I'm not sure if I need to be looking at myself or looking up here at the camera. So once I come back and see this video, then I'll know. So thank you for coming. All of those who came and watched, I appreciate it, and others can catch it live, and I'll come in and I'll do some links that tell you these ways to, to figure out maybe your calorie burn, and I'll also, aw, Sarah, you're so sweet. Okay, good, thank you, Lillian, for telling me that. Aw, I'm so glad you're there. I'm so glad you guys tuned in. Okay, ladies, that's it. Put in the group, just hashtag label so I'll know you read it. Hey Melanie, I'm getting ready to close the meeting, but go in and do the call to action, which is just look at any label you have today and let me know what you learned. Yes, Lillian, I'm not going to tell you yet. Lillian said, what 3 things do I look for? I'm not going to tell you yet. Because that's what happened to me. I was like, oh, what's on there? So just have a look at the label and we'll talk about it later. All right, ladies, thank you for being here. 31 sneaky ways to reduce weight without a diet. I'll share a couple more tips tomorrow and another truth about weight loss that nobody's ever thought about probably. Okay, take care.